That $15,000 Sprinter on Facebook Marketplace isn't a deal. It's a financial trap disguised as freedom. And I'm about to show you exactly how these budget builds drained $30,000 to $50,000 from buyers who thought they were being smart. By the end of this video, you'll know the 6 hidden cost multipliers that turn cheap camper vans into money pits, which specific models and years carry the highest risk, and the one purchase strategy that actually saves you money in 2026, not just on day one, but 3 years from now, when everyone else is scrambling to sell at a loss. Section 1. The illusion of savings. Here's what's happening right now in the used campervan market. Retirees and families are seeing 2015 to 2019 Mercedes Sprinters and Ram ProMasters listed between $12,000 and $25,000, and they're thinking they found the sweet spot. High miles, maybe some amateur DIY work, but it runs, it's converted, it's ready to go. Except it's not. These vans are hitting the market for a reason, and that reason is almost never, "we just don't need it anymore." The real story is often buried in the transmission, the electrical system, or the subfloor that's been compromised. The seller knows. They're just betting you won't figure it out until the check clears. And the worst part? The most expensive mistakes happen in the first 90 days of ownership, not the first week. Let me explain why. I had a viewer from Arizona reach out last month. Retired couple, bought a 2016 Ram ProMaster with 140,000 miles for $19,000. It looked clean, ran fine on the test drive, and the seller seemed honest. They planned to leave for their cross-country trip in 6 weeks. 3 weeks after purchase, the check engine light came on. Oil consumption issue. The van was burning a quart every 400 miles. Then they discovered the roof vent was leaking and had been for at least a year. By the time they got everything diagnosed, they were looking at $4,500 in immediate repairs, plus another $2,000 to fix water damage they hadn't noticed. Their $19,000 deal was actually a $25,500 van before they even left their driveway. That's the pattern I'm seeing in 2026. And it's not just bad luck, there are specific risk factors you need to understand. Cost multiplier number 1, high mileage mechanical risk. Let's talk about used 2017 Mercedes Sprinters with 180,000 miles isn't just high mileage, it's entering the range where major components become high-risk repair territory. Transmissions, particularly the 7-speed automatics in those years, have been reported to develop issues in this mileage range. When they do fail, replacement costs run between $8,500 and $12,000 at a Mercedes dealership. Even at an independent shop, you're looking at $6,000 minimum. Now compare that to buying a 2020 or newer Sprinter with updated components in 60,000 miles. Yes, it costs $25,000 more upfront, but you're not gambling on a potential $10,000 repair bill within your first year. You're buying predictability. The Ram ProMaster has similar considerations. The 3.6-liter V6 from earlier production years has widely reported oil consumption concerns after 120,000 miles. Owners document adding a quart every 500 to 800 miles. That's not normal maintenance. That's a known issue that persists. The 2019 and newer models addressed many of these concerns, but if you buy a 2016 ProMaster because it's $8,000 cheaper, you may be inheriting this problem. But mechanical issues are just the beginning. The next cost multiplier catches buyers completely off guard, and it's hiding in plain sight. Cost multiplier number 2, non-professional electrical systems. Let's talk about DIY conversions. Not all DIY conversions are problematic, but many are not built to professional marine or automotive standards, and that distinction matters. Here's the test. Open the electrical panel. If you see wire nuts typically used in household applications, standard Romex cable instead of marine-grade wiring, or basic battery isolators from consumer retailers, that's a red flag. These components aren't rated for the vibration, temperature extremes, and electrical loads in a vehicle environment. A proper campervan electrical system in 2026 requires a DC to DC charger with lithium battery compatibility, a dedicated solar charge controller with the correct charging profile, and marine-grade or automotive-grade wiring with appropriate fusing at every connection point. This isn't optional anymore. Lithium batteries are becoming standard, and they require specific charging parameters. Connect them incorrectly, and you risk battery damage or failure. I've seen buyers purchase an $18,000 fully converted van only to discover the electrical system needs professional evaluation and rebuilding. That's another $4,000 to $7,000 if you hire a qualified technician, or 80 hours of your life if you rebuild it correctly yourself. Compare this to buying a factory-built camper van, like a Winnebago Solis or a leisure travel van. The electrical system is UL listed, warrantied, and built to code. No guessing, no failures, no troubleshooting in the middle of Montana. And if you think electrical concerns are significant, the next cost multiplier is even more expensive to fix once you discover it. Cost multiplier number 3, hidden water intrusion. Water damage is the silent destroyer of used camper vans, and sellers have become skilled at concealing it. Fresh paint, new flooring, thorough cleaning, suddenly that leaky roof from 2022 disappears from the listing photos. But here's what you need to know. Water doesn't just damage surfaces, it compromises the subfloor, affects structural integrity, and creates mold growth that's extremely difficult to fully remediate without removing the entire build. And in 2026, some insurance companies are beginning to total vans with significant mold contamination because it's considered a health hazard. The primary source of water intrusion is roof-mounted accessories installed without proper sealing techniques. Solar panels, roof vents, and air conditioners need to be sealed with appropriate marine-grade sealants and installed with backing plates and proper fastener techniques. One compromised installation, and water can travel inside your walls for months before visible signs appear. I watched a buyer invest $22,000 in a 2018 Ford Transit with what appeared to be a professional conversion. 6 months later, they pulled up the vinyl flooring to install a heater and found significant mold covering approximately 40% of the subfloor. The remediation cost exceeded the van's value. They lost everything. Here's the protective move. Before you purchase any used camper van, hire a mobile RV inspector or a van conversion specialist to conduct a pre-purchase inspection. It costs $300 to $500, and it will either give you confidence in your purchase or save you from a potentially catastrophic financial loss. Now let's talk about the cost multiplier that nobody anticipates, and it's the one that creates ongoing financial strain for full-time van lifers. Maintenance cost reality. Camper vans aren't cars, they're commercial vehicles with commercial-grade parts and significantly higher service costs. A brake job on a Sprinter runs $1,200 to $1,800. Tires for a 170-inch wheelbase, about $2,000 for 6 tires. Dealership oil changes, $200 to $250. And if you purchase a used van with deferred maintenance, which many of them are, you're funding someone else's postponed service intervals. Timing chains, suspension components, steering linkages, all of these cost 2 to 3 times more than comparable passenger vehicle components. And here's where it becomes particularly expensive: finding qualified technicians. Many shops decline converted vans due to liability concerns. You're limited to specialty shops charging $150 to $200 per hour, or dealerships that prefer not to work around aftermarket modifications. Compare this to buying new or certified pre-owned with remaining warranty coverage. When your transmission throws a code in Wyoming, you're not calling random mechanics hoping someone will fit you in. You're calling the manufacturer, and they're dispatching assistance. We've covered 4 cost multipliers, but the 5th one is the most financially significant, and it's the reason many buyers are choosing the wrong vehicle entirely. Cost multiplier number 5, depreciation and resale challenges. Here's the reality that many sellers discover too late. Custom DIY camper vans face significant resale challenges in 2026, and the market dynamics are becoming less favorable. The market has substantial inventory of amateur DIY builds, partially completed projects, and highly personalized conversions. When you go to sell, buyers evaluate your custom layouts and personal design choices, and they often see modifications they'll need to change. Every personalized choice potentially limits your buyer pool. That reclaimed wood, some buyers consider it heavy and dated. That composting toilet, many prefer cassette or traditional RV toilets. That custom off-grid solar setup, they're concerned about verification and troubleshooting. In stable market conditions, a $35,000 DIY build might sell for $22,000 to $25,000 3 years later, depending on condition and documentation. That's significant depreciation, plus any repair costs you absorbed, plus the opportunity cost of time spent maintaining rather than using the vehicle. Now compare that to a factory-built camper van. A 2021 Winnebago Solis with 15,000 miles typically holds value in the $75,000 to $85,000 range in 2026 with reasonable mileage and good condition. That's approximately 25 to 30% depreciation over 5 years. Still substantial, but more predictable. And crucially, when you sell, buyers trust the brand recognition. They're willing to pay market value.
Here's something else to consider. Banks finance predictable assets. They don't finance passion projects. If you ever need to refinance, upgrade, or leverage the van's value, a factory-built van with documented history gives you options. A DIY build gives you complications. Or consider the Ford Transit Trail or the Ram ProMaster Adventure. These are factory-backed adventure vans with established dealer networks and documented resale history. Buyers understand what they're purchasing, and they pay accordingly. Here's what most people miss. The van itself isn't the risk. The wrong timing is. Buying a camper van before you're financially ready, before you have the maintenance reserve, before you understand the real costs, before you verified the vehicle's condition, that's where people lose money, not in the purchase price, in the timing. And here's the hard truth. If you don't have $8,000 to $10,000 set aside specifically for unexpected repairs, you're not ready to own a high-mileage camper van. That's not pessimism, that's reality. Major repairs don't wait for convenient timing, and they don't negotiate on price. So if inexpensive vans carry hidden costs and expensive vans depreciate, what's the actual smart strategy in 2026? The strategic buying approach. Here's my position, and I know some viewers will disagree. The smartest financial approach right now is purchasing a lightly used, factory-built camper van from 2022 to 2024 model years. Allow the first owner to absorb initial depreciation, but buy recent enough that you retain remaining factory warranty coverage and benefit from modern components. A 2023 Winnebago Solis with 15,000 miles typically sells for $30,000 to $40,000 below new pricing, but it maintains warranty coverage, features a professionally engineered electrical system, and eliminates gambling on concealed damage. Similar value propositions exist with the Storyteller Overland Mode or the Pleasureway Plateau. If your budget requires older or less expensive options, here's the formula. Purchase a clean, unmodified cargo van with documented service history and reasonable mileage, then invest in a professional conversion by a qualified shop. Yes, it costs more initially, but you control the quality standards, you know exactly what components are installed, and you're not inheriting someone else's compromises or mistakes. Cost multiplier number 6, insurance complications. Here's a cost factor that catches many DIY van owners by surprise. Insurance complications. In 2026, insurance for custom-converted vans has become more complex. Some insurers now decline coverage for non-certified conversions entirely. Agreed value coverage, which protects your conversion investment, requires extensive documentation and often professional inspection. And some policies only cover the base vehicle value, not your $20,000 build-out. If you can't get proper agreed value coverage, you're essentially self-insuring your entire conversion. That means if you're in an accident and the van is totaled, you might receive $15,000 for the base vehicle while losing $25,000 in conversion value. Factory-built camper vans don't have this problem. They're titled as RVs, they have VIN-documented value, and insurance companies have established protocols for coverage. That's another hidden advantage of buying factory-built that most people don't consider until they need to file a claim. High-risk combinations to approach with extra caution in 2026. Based on documented issues and common problem areas, here are the combinations to approach with extra caution in 2026.
Any Mercedes Sprinter from 2015 to 2018 with mileage exceeding 150,000 miles, you're entering high-risk territory for major component repairs. Any Ram ProMaster from 2014 to 2017 with the widely reported oil consumption pattern, verify this has been addressed or budget for ongoing oil management. Any DIY build with household electrical components or visible indicators of water intrusion, these typically require professional rebuilding. And any van where the seller cannot provide maintenance documentation, if they didn't maintain records, they likely didn't maintain the vehicle properly. These aren't automatic deal breakers, but they require professional inspection and honest assessment of your repair budget and mechanical capability. Who should buy what? Let me break this down by buyer profile. If you're a retiree planning full-time van life and prioritize reliability and comfort, consider a 2022 or newer factory-built Class B motorhome. The warranty coverage and established service network will serve you better than saving money up front and managing repairs yourself. If you're a family using the van for weekend trips and summer vacations, look at certified pre-owned Sprinter or Transit models from dealers with remaining warranty. You need dependability and predictable service costs, not project vehicles. If you're a full-time van lifer with mechanical aptitude and time for proper research, buying a clean cargo van and building it yourself with professional guidance can work, but don't purchase someone else's incomplete project. Start with a solid foundation. And if you're casually interested in van life but not fully committed, seriously consider renting before purchasing. The worst financial decision is buying a van, using it twice, and panic selling at a loss when you realize the lifestyle doesn't match your expectations. Here's my bottom line. You don't lose money when you buy, you lose it when you ignore risk. The cheapest van is often the most expensive decision you make because every corner that was cut, every maintenance interval that was skipped, every amateur modification that was made, you're paying for all of it, plus your time, plus your opportunity cost. In 2026, the used van market contains numerous problems disguised as opportunities, and if you're not evaluating carefully, you risk spending more repairing a $15,000 van than you would have invested in a $50,000 van that actually functions reliably. Buy with knowledge, buy strategically, and understand that there is no secret, inexpensive van that's also dependable. There are only informed buyers who know what to evaluate and uninformed buyers who learn expensive lessons. The goal isn't to spend the most money, it's to spend money strategically on the right vehicle at the right time. Now I want to hear from you. What's your realistic budget, and what are you actually willing to compromise on? Are you team buy newer with warranty and minimize risk, or team buy affordable and handle repairs yourself? Drop a comment and tell me your strategy, because I guarantee the comments section is about to become a detailed discussion, and that's exactly what I want to see.